For 2 years, I was the happiest man alive, or so I thought. My wife, Sarah, and I had what I believed was the perfect marriage. We were high school sweethearts, and our love story felt like something out of a movie. We built a beautiful life together, a cozy home, shared dreams, and a bond I thought was unbreakable. I was a software engineer, working long hours but always making sure to be home for dinner, for our weekend trips, for her. She was a freelance graphic designer, working from home, which I thought was wonderful. It meant she was always there, the heart of our home. I trusted her completely, without a single shred of doubt. That was my first mistake. The signs were there, I see that now. They were subtle, like little cracks in a perfect vase that you don't notice until it shatters. The late-night work emergencies that became more frequent. The way she'd guard her phone like it held state secrets, angling it away from me whenever a notification popped up. The new, expensive clothes and gadgets that she'd explain away with a casual, "Oh, I got a big bonus on a project." I wanted to believe her. I loved her so much that my mind refused to connect the dots. I just saw my wife being successful, and I was proud. I'd even brag to my friends about how talented and driven she was. They'd smile and nod, but now I wonder what they really thought. Did they see it too? The day my world fell apart started like any other. I had to go to the office for a rare in-person meeting. It was a big deal, a project I'd been leading for months. The meeting finished early, and I was thrilled. I decided to surprise Sarah, maybe take her out for a nice lunch. I remember humming to the radio on the drive home, thinking about which of her favorite spots we could go to. I pulled into our driveway and noticed an unfamiliar car, a sleek black sports car that definitely didn't belong to any of our neighbors. A weird feeling crept into my stomach, but I brushed it off. Maybe it was a new client, one with expensive taste. I walked in through the front door, calling out her name. "Sarah, honey, I'm home early." Silence. That was odd. Usually our dog, Buddy, would come bounding to the door, tail wagging furiously, but the house was eerily quiet. I walked further in, towards our bedroom. The door was slightly ajar. And then I heard it. Laughter. Her laughter, a sound I loved, but this time it was different. It was intertwined with a deep male voice I didn't recognize. My heart started pounding in my chest, a frantic drumbeat of dread. I pushed the door open. And there they were. My wife, my Sarah, in our bed with another man. The scene is burned into my memory, a high-definition nightmare. The shock was like a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. They hadn't noticed me yet. They were wrapped up in their own little world, in my bed, in my home. The man was older, with silver hair and an expensive watch that glinted in the light from the window. He looked like the kind of man who was used to getting whatever he wanted. And apparently he wanted my wife. When Sarah finally saw me standing in the doorway, her face went through a rapid series of emotions, shock, then fear, then a flicker of something I couldn't quite place. Was it annoyance? The man, her lover, just looked at me with a cool, detached arrogance. He didn't even have the decency to look ashamed. He just slowly got up, gathered his clothes, and walked past me without a word, as if I were a piece of furniture. I didn't stop him. I was frozen. Once he was gone, the dam broke. The shouting, the tears, the accusations, it was all a blur of pain and betrayal. She confessed everything. It had been going on for 2 years. 2 years. Half of our married life. The man, Mark, was a wealthy client of hers. He showered her with gifts, trips, a lifestyle I couldn't provide. She cried and said it didn't mean anything, that she loved me, but I could see the lie in her eyes. She loved the money, the excitement. Our quiet, stable life had become boring to her. Every late night at work, every business trip was a lie. My entire reality for the past 2 years had been a carefully constructed facade. I left that day. I packed a bag and went to a hotel, my mind a chaotic storm of anger, heartbreak, and confusion. For days, I just sat there, replaying everything in my head. The betrayal was so deep it felt like a part of me had died. I could have filed for divorce immediately. I could have exposed her, ruined her reputation. And believe me, a part of me, a very loud part, wanted to do just that. I wanted her to feel a fraction of the pain I was feeling. But as the initial rage subsided, a different idea began to form. A cold, calculated idea. Divorce would be too quick, too easy. She'd just move on with Mark and his money. No, she didn't deserve an easy way out. She deserved to understand what she had thrown away. So, after a week of silence, I went back home. Sarah was a wreck. She begged for my forgiveness, swore it was over with Mark, that she'd do anything to fix us. And I let her believe I was considering it. I played the part of the wounded husband, willing to try but needing time. I love you, Sarah, I said, my voice carefully controlled, but the trust is broken. We need to rebuild it slowly. She latched onto that glimmer of hope like a drowning person to a raft. She had no idea that I wasn't rebuilding our marriage. I was building her a prison of false hope. The next year was a masterpiece of emotional manipulation. I became the perfect, forgiving husband on the surface. I suggested we go to couples counseling. In our sessions, I'd talk about my pain, my struggle to trust her again, all while watching her squirm with guilt. She tried so hard. She cooked my favorite meals, planned romantic date nights, and was constantly affectionate, trying to prove her devotion, and I let her. I accepted her efforts with a sad smile, always reminding her, "It takes time, Sarah. You hurt me very deeply." Meanwhile, I was quietly moving my pieces into place. I started separating our finances, a little at a time, under the guise of financial planning for our future. I encouraged her to invest more of her own money into the house, for our renovations. She eagerly agreed, wanting to contribute, to prove she was invested in our life together. She poured her bonus money, Mark's money, into a house she would soon no longer be living in. I also started documenting everything. Every lie she had told, every text message I found from her affair, every expensive gift she had hidden. I gathered evidence with the cold precision of a detective. My friends thought I was a saint for taking her back. "I don't know how you do it, man," my best friend Jake said one night. I just shrugged and said, "I believe in second chances." The irony was thick enough to cut with a knife. Sarah's family praised me for my grace and forgiveness. They had no idea I was orchestrating her downfall. The most delicious part of my plan was letting her believe she was winning me back. There were moments she'd look at me, her eyes shining with hope, and say, "I feel like we're finally getting back to how we used to be." And I'd just nod, feeling a cold satisfaction. The final act came on our 6th wedding anniversary, almost exactly a year after I had walked in on her. I told her I had a big surprise for her. She was ecstatic, thinking it was a romantic trip or an expensive gift, a symbol that I had finally truly forgiven her. She got all dressed up. She looked beautiful, and for a fleeting moment, the old pain flared up. But I pushed it down. I drove us to a fancy restaurant, the same one where I had proposed all those years ago. Over dinner she was glowing. "I'm so happy, Alex," she said, reaching for my hand across the table. "Thank you for not giving up on us." I let her hold my hand. I smiled. Then, as the dessert menus arrived, I slid a large manila envelope across the table toward her. "Here's your anniversary present," I said. Her smile faltered, confused. She opened it. Inside were divorce papers, already signed by me. Pinned to the top were photos. Photos of her and Mark. Photos she never knew existed. And behind those were bank statements, showing all the money she'd spent on the house, and a detailed legal document outlining how our assets would be divided, leaving her with almost nothing, thanks to a prenuptial agreement she had signed without much thought and my careful financial maneuvering over the past year. Her face went pale. The color drained away, leaving a mask of pure shock and disbelief. "What? What is this?" she stammered. "It's your second chance, Sarah," I said, my voice calm and even. "A second chance to start over, without me." without my house, without my money. I just wanted you to have a full year to truly appreciate everything you were about to lose. I stood up from the table, dropped $100 bill to cover the meal, and walked out of the restaurant without looking back. That was the last time I ever saw her. The revenge wasn't loud or explosive. It was a slow, quiet burn. And it was far more satisfying than I ever could have imagined. I finally had my peace. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been through something similar, know that you're not alone, and the best revenge is building a better life for yourself. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content. See you next time.